Hi, I'm Chris from Fanfield Farm, and today I'm going to show you how I grow Salanova lettuce here in the UK. So I start off with a 60 seed tray. I bring all my Salanova lettuce on in the greenhouse and then transplant it a little bit later. It just gives it that little bit of an edge, and I can control the quality of what's going in the ground, and I know that then my beds are full with really good seeds and lettuce coming through. So I start with a 60 seed tray. I want to get up to 100 seed trays, but these are more readily available in the UK at the moment. We don't have the really strong suppliers as the market gardeners do in the US, but 60 seed trays will do. I have had trouble getting Salanova in the UK. It's not the easiest thing to get hold of, but I have found it with Just Seed, an online UK company, and they do have lots of different strands of the Salanova brand. So I've been able to pick it up from them, and they're really great. They just post out quite quickly to you, and comes in these little seed bottles. So I'll take my 60 seed tray. I've got a mix of potting compost and vermiculite here. I do about sort of 5 big scoops of potting compost to a scoop of vermiculite. Lots of people talk about 50-50 or 25%. I haven't found the need for it if you're using potting compost. So I'll just start by literally stuffing it all over the 60 cell tray here. And I've got a tray underneath just so that I can catch all of the compost and I don't have to try and be neat, because when you're doing large quantities of this you really don't want to be wasting time trying to be neat and tidy. I'm just getting it so that all of these cells on here are full with good soil and vermiculite, or compost and vermiculite. And if you do use your own sort of compost, or you're not using a compost, it might be a good idea to put more vermiculite in. The reason I use it, and it comes from Charles Dowding actually, a great guy in the UK who is big into no dig, but he finds that vermiculite, that lettuces in general actually don't like sitting in water. They don't like having their roots sit in water. They can rot quite easily. They're quite sensitive, although they're one of the easier things to grow. They can be quite sensitive, so using the vermiculite helps with the drainage. So as you can see, I'm just patting that off relatively level there, keeping it nice and clean, but this isn't compacted down enough. We want our cells, when we pop them out, to be really quite strong. So I just need to push all this down, and now I will spend a little bit longer on making sure this is really nicely packed down in each cell. We want those to really come out nicely when we're trying to pop them into the ground later on, and we want a really good root structure on all of these. Salanova lettuce isn't the cheapest of lettuce. It's fairly expensive, especially if you don't get it from the right supplier, so you want the best success rate you can, and that's why I'm doing them in transplants as well. So I'll just push that down so it's nice and compacted, and then I'll just get another layer across the top so it's flush again with the surface of the seed tray. Just getting plenty of that into all of these. There are obviously many ways of doing this. This is just my favourite, especially for this particular type of lettuce. Now you might be thinking, if you haven't seen Salanova before, that this is a strange way of doing it. Normally lettuce seeds are very tiny. However, these are coated and they're of a decent size, so you don't have to worry about sort of putting them in seed trays and then picking them out. They're of a decent size, so you can know that you're putting one in each cell. Once I've got that leveled off for a second time, I'm then just going to centrally put a little divot in each one, so that it's really easy for when I roll out the seeds for them to just sit nicely in the middle. And I'm a little bit OCD, so I like the seed to sit in the middle as it grows, but it does give it the best soil structure as well. So and this is helping compact a little bit as well. So we've done that. I'm just going to take these seeds now. These are the red Salanova, and you can see there that they're of a fairly decent size. So they're not like conventional lettuce seeds that you have to sort of brick out later on. So I'm just going to roll these in, and as you can see, these divots make it really easy for me to just pop each of these seeds quite quickly into the compost, into the individual cells. I can get now. You can get vacuum seeders and things that will make this a lot quicker, and if you are doing hundreds and hundreds, then they will save you time. At the moment, this year on the farm, we're just doing a couple of hundred at a time, so it's not a huge task. Next year, with the bigger site, we certainly will be looking at something like a vacuum seeder to save us some time. But just rolling these out, I mean, as you get into the day of doing this for an hour or so, you get a lot quicker at it. This is my second sale today, but a little bit slower, and it can be a pain when you end up with 2 in one of the cells. I'm getting quite quick at it now. So I'm just popping 1 in each of these, so this will be 60. I want 100 today, so I have to do another tray in a moment. It was close, I have 1 left. Put that back in there in the bottle. Now what I also do here, and many people don't, is just to pop the seeds down a little bit as well, because I want them to stay where I've put them, essentially. So I'm just pushing those down, and when you'll see in a moment that I put a layer of compost on top of these, and then sort of brush it off so it's all nice and level. And if I don't make sure that these are properly into their homes, so to speak, we're going to lose them, sort of dragging them across. Now, sometimes before, sometimes after, I'm just popping a bit of water. It's normally before, to be honest, but I was distracted talking to you. So I'll pop a bit of water on there, and then just another layer of compost across the top. Same mix. This one's nice and dry. I'll water it just after, and I'm just getting that mix across. And as you can see, as I drag that across, if the seed wasn't nice and pushed in, it could get dragged across the trays and we'd end up with 2 in a cell and that sort of thing. So I'm just pushing those down to make sure. Level all that off. Give it all a little compact again. We really want these root structures to be really good and these cells to pop out nice and neatly when we do it. So there we go. That's a nice tray ready to water and pop in the greenhouse. So I will then just give it a good old water, plenty. And it's important to keep these well watered, especially in the germination period. Plenty of water, and then that will pop in the greenhouse and germinate pretty quickly, especially in this heat that we've had so far this summer. Light blue Peter, so I've got some that I made earlier, so I'm going to just take you over to the site where these are going in, and you'll see the transplants being popped in to a 20-foot bed that I prepared.